Thanks for being patient, everyone. Here we're back. Let's start the recording again. Week 2, day 1, Algo, and we're dealing with acronyms. All right, we looked at this one already. Object-oriented programming, that's our first acronym. And so in order to get this, the solution for this algo would be OOP, right? So you're fed in this string 1, and then you're going to return with your function OOP. All right. So let's continue. This one is abstraction, polymorphism, inheritance, encapsulation. API. This is a concept that we're going to be learning soon. Okay, no need to worry about what this means, but this is the acronym, right? APIE. Software Development Lifecycle, SDLC. And Global Information Tracker, GIT. There we go. 4 acronyms to help you become a better developer. So we want you to, given any string, all right, we've given you these ones here as examples, to create a function that will take in that parameter as a string and then return the acronym. All right, so we have a couple steps. I've given you guys some hints on how to do that. Step 1, trim the input string to remove any extra spaces at the start and the end. All right, so remember how we showed how to do this in Python yesterday. It wasn't through .trim, but here we're showing you in JavaScript. Step 2, initialize a variable to hold the acronymize and initially make it empty. All right, make a variable, an empty variable, to hold the acronym. Okay. And then step 3, split the input into an array of words. So you got to use the dot split at this point. All right. And then step 4, you want to loop through each word in the array. Check if the current word is not an empty string, right? Remember, your string has to have something in it in order to, capitalize that letter. And then take the first character of the word, convert it to uppercase, and then add it to the acronym. Lastly, you return the constructed acronym. Okay, so I've given you guys even this as well. All right, so I've created 4 variables. Result 1, 2, 3, 4. They take in the 4 strings here initially, string 1, 2, 3, and 4. They pass in these strings in the argument here of this function call, acronymize. And so you need to build this function and have the return work for you. Okay, so I'll go ahead and copy this code. I'll post it in the Discord. And does anyone have any questions before we get started? Okay, should be a fairly fun one. We have plenty of instructors here to help you, so let's go ahead and get started. Breakout rooms. Okay, so how do we do maybe another? Kyle, do you know when we have pre-made rooms, can you recreate the rooms for algos, or is that going to destroy the pre-made breakout rooms?
I
did. All right, how do we like that algo? Difficult, hard, easy? James says good. All right, James, would you like to present your solution?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. If that was so I could share a screen. Uh,
Might have stepped away for a second.
yeah, if not, I can at least walk through it if let me see actually type
Oh,
it.
we can wait till he comes back. Anyone else have a solution they'd like to share? I'm gonna start calling on groups here. Who else at least solved it? Even if you don't want to present. All right, come on,
We could show
Simon.
our solution.
All right, perfect. Thank you, James. Jacob.
All right, just make sure. Okay, for what we did is we just trimmed the edges of the string to make sure there was no empty spaces at the beginning or at the end of the string.
Okay.
And then we set a variable for our acronym that we're gonna concatenate and push it in.
Okay.
And then we use the split method. And then with the syntax of using the single quotation marks with no spaces in between, it creates an array with all the individual characters inside of an array of the string.
Okay.
And so after doing that, we first took the first character of the string and concatenate it to our acronym variable. So that'd be the first letter in the acronym.
Nice.
And then we went into a for loop, and we're looping through it as many times as we're going through the string array, which we're using the split method. And then we set an if statement. If at the current index there's an empty space, then we'll concatenate the next index over, and that'll add the next letter of the acronym into our acronym variable, and it'll keep looping through that until we get all the letters of our acronym.
Very nice.
And then we returned acronym to uppercase uppercase all the strings. That's how we looked at
Okay.
it.
Does anyone could you leave that there before you stop sharing? Does anyone have any questions about Jacob's solution here as we look at it? So first he set string.trim. Okay. And that's what he used to remove the extra spaces. Then he set a variable called acronym. And this variable lets him hold initially where the acronym is going to be. It's an empty variable. And then he made another variable called string array, and then that takes the string that's input and it splits it by the spaces. Then he loops through the array and he checks to see if the current word is an empty string, right? And so that's how he does that on line 46 with the for loop on line 47. Checking the first letter with 46 and then looping through on 47. I'm actually a bit confused on how it works with acronym outside the line on 46. So does it matter if where acronym exists? So let's answer James' question. So James is asking, does it matter, or how does it work with acronym being defined on line 46? So James, where would you suggest it be?
Oh, I'm not suggesting like it should be, or I guess just because usually I think the plus equals, I think of it as being in the loop. It's more just my brain is having a hard time parsing it right now because I'm like, morning brain. And since it's a slightly different solution from ours, I actually feel like this looks a little nicer than the one we happen to come up with. So I was just curious about the logic of it.
Okay. Great. Well, did you want to share your solution?
Yeah, I was the one that had it. That was my
Yeah.
fault. I
Yeah,
was at the
we'll
rest.
share ours.
I was in here.
Okay, fantastic. Let's go ahead and do that. Thank you, Jacob.
Yeah, so on line 28, we trimmed the string, the argument, and we just set it equal to I. And then we defined a new I forget what the split does. I think that makes the array. So words equals I dot split, and then we made an empty acronym. And so on line 34, we start the for loop. 35, we just check to make sure it's not empty. And then we just have the acronym add in, since the string, the words is the array of the words. And so we go through it one by one, which is J. And then the string itself, the word itself is a string, which is like an array. And then index 0 would be the first letter. And then we after all that, we just have it use the to uppercase method and return it.
Awesome. Awesome. And I like how you did it. It looks very clean and organized. I just want to point out something here. Here's a major hint to solving algo problems. Look for keywords like the word if. Do you see how on line 48 it says check if the current word is not an empty string? Whenever you get in a word problem, the word if, it's most likely going to be an if that you write in your code. So line 41, oh, sorry, line 48 where it says 4.1, step 4.1, check if the current word is not an empty string. That's done on line 35, right? If words at J is not equal to like just that empty quote. So a lot of the time when we're solving for word problems, for algo problems, you're looking at for those key phrases, if, and then that means you're going to have to write an if statement there, or loop, right? Loop means for loop or while loop, however you decide to use a loop. And so those keywords are always going to help you. So great job, James's group.
Quick question. So I understand the last one completely, and I understand most of this algo. Until about line 40. What's the to uppercase return acronym to uppercase, or what's that?
That one just that's just to make it it's just a method that literally just takes the string and makes it all uppercase because it was all lowercase the way it was.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. Great questions. Yeah, he said that in his return, right? So he said, whatever acronym is, now whenever you return it, set it to uppercase at the return. So, he could have said it before, but putting in the return just makes it a little more concise there. So,
Yeah, I was making that more complex than I needed to in my head.
cool. Awesome question, Johnny. Well, everyone else have any questions or would like to share before we take a break?
Can I chime in one thing real quick?
Yes, sir.
Can you throw that algo back up on the screen? And group 5 or whoever's was the last group that I was in. Yeah, group 5. You guys can't answer this question. But everybody else, how many loops do you guys see? How many times are you looping through the string?
The amount in the array words.
Okay, okay, I got 3 or 4. Can you point them out? You said that the amount of times or the amount of words are in there. I'm not talking about like how many items do you loop over, but just how many times you do a loop.
Oh, once.
Okay.
I think.
What line do you do a loop on?
34.
34. That's one loop. And then somebody else in the chat said 3 or 4. Can you point them out? Because there's more than just 34 or 3 or 4. There's more than just line 34 that's a loop. Oh, I see. I see. So you're actually doing another loop on line 30 with this dot split.
Oh,
right?
okay.
And you're doing not looping through all of this stuff, but you're doing some other, at least the start of a loop on line 28 with dot trim.
Oh,
And you're doing another loop here with 2 uppercase. So there's actually 4 loops. The other 3 are kind of hidden. This one you write here, but then we have a couple other hidden loops. So my word of caution is don't not use built-in functions necessarily, but when you use built-in functions, you should be asking yourself, how, if I were to write this function, how would I write it? Because if there's a loop inside of it, then you don't negate the work. The work still has to take place. Somebody else just wrote the function for you. So,
okay. I actually have one question about that then.
yeah.
Would it be possible then, to have done on line 30, if I defined acronym right before line 30, to do like, to use the split function in such a way that I also at the same time get the first letter and therefore cut out one of those loops?
You can actually rewrite this without the split function altogether.
Okay.
So, and this is what I was ending with, chaining methods. Sorry, chaining methods doesn't negate the work. You're still doing the work for trim and split. So,
Okay.
but you can actually loop through a string utilizing indices, just like you can loop through an array using indices. So you could rework your algo here to remove the array altogether. So anyways, there's many ways to solve the problem. This is a correct solution. Some ways are more efficient than other ways, but they're all correct if you get the right answer. So
Oh, thank you.
Yep, that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Instructor Tyler. Appreciate that input. And I think now is a good time to take a break. So what we'll do is we'll stop the recording.